De toute sa présence. Je ne viens pas te donner une schnapp.
Oh, I don't like it.
Oui-tu là? Parce que moi, je voyais avec la chaise, là, fait que c'est une belle chaise, mais.
It's in the way.
En tout cas, Corneille.
Bon. Une minute?
And I got 5:58.
OK, on va te laisser coller ça.
Denny, is Dennis on, Denny?
And
Is he on the
sent his
meeting?
regrets.
He'll be on there.
No, he sent his regrets.
Oh, okay.
So I guess you'll have to put up with me.
No problem. So the mayor,
Demandez de tu vas ça, là, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, depending on how much time you have to spare.
whatever time you need.
Je pense que tu vas avoir de la misère à faire ça dans 20 minutes.
Il n'a pas mal.
Bon, tu n'as pas vu l'autre qu'on a après.
The mayor sent her regrets as well. Just as 5.
La crudité, garantie.
Start, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Bonsoir tout le monde. Any declaration of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we'll go on to addendum and agenda. Do we have an addendum?
We do not have an addendum.
Skip that. Adoption of the agenda. Could we please have a proposer, Mr. Yvon Diane, and the seconder, Mr. Dan Rovido?
It is moved by Mr. Duhaime and seconded by Mr. Ovida. Be it resolved that the agenda for the meeting of the West Nipissing Planning Advisory Committee on July the 11th, 2022 be adopted as presented.
Everybody in favor? Carried. Adoption of minutes. Could we please have a mover and seconder for the adoption of the minutes?
I wasn't present.
Fern and Mr. Fisher.
It is moved by Fern Pellerin and seconded by Chris Fisher. Be it resolved that the minutes of the West Nipissing Planning Advisory Committee meeting held on June 13th, 2022 be adopted as presented.
I hope everybody had the opportunity to read the minutes. No correction or amendments. Hearing none, I'll call it to a vote. Everybody in favor as presented? Carried. I don't think we have any agency comments. We'll go on to item 5, application for consent and minor variant. And sorry, I've got the wrong agenda. Okay, it's planning advisory. Okay, the same at the beginning there. Okay, before I go zoning bylaw and amendment and application 5-1 ZBLA 2022/05 Denis Lafont, Denis and Lauren Lafont.
Mr. Chair, this is, this application, I'll read in the resolution and then I'll go through it.
Yeah, I guess we need this. What happened? You lost everybody.
No, I just put it up there so we can see what's going
But
on.
I will need a proposal in seconder before we can discuss it. Mr. Yvon Dieng, Mr. Fern.
It is moved by Yvonne Terheim and seconded by Fern Pellerin, whereas a public meeting was held on July the 11th, 2022, for the purpose of amending zoning bylaw 2014-45, and whereas no written concerns or objections have been received to the proposed amendment, be it therefore resolved that the Planning Advisory Committee for the West Nipissing Municipality recommends that Council for the West Nipissing Municipality adopt the proposed zoning bylaw to rezone the property located at 411 and 429 Canal Road, more particularly shown in the attached sketch, and that Schedule SF8 of the bylaw 2014-45 shall be amended by changing the zoning designation shown on the schedule, which properties are more particularly described as lots 11 and 12, Plan 36M 679. Through you, Mr. Chair, this property is located on Canal Road. It is one of the properties that was from the first phase of the subdivision done by Mr. Morrison back in, I guess 2013 would have been phase one. These two lots are on Canal Road. And we saw a proposed consent application at the last, maybe late last fall. We had given provisional consent to basically split the middle lot, or to split the end of each lot, add it to the middle, and to make 3 from 2. So what is being proposed here is to rezone the whole 3 or /2 as they are at the moment from residential 1 to residential 2 so that they can build a 2-family dwelling on the property.
Okay. And since this is a plan of subdivision originally, do we have to, will the municipality have to pass a bylaw to connect, remove them and so they can be made?
No, because by splitting them,
Yeah.
it takes away their subdivision status.
That.
Because
it's the other way that we have to.
when you add on, you got to deem them, but in this case, both lots are being divided, so they all lose their subdivision status.
Okay,
But will gain consent status.
Okay, thank you very much for the clarification. Any question from the members?
So,
Yes, Mr.
Mr.
Chair.
Chair, so I assume that it's a duplex?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Any other question or comments? So I think with this amendment, it will meet all the requirements of the planning and the.
These properties were a little bit bigger. They were 200 feet to begin with. The minimum lot frontage for parcel servicing is only 100 feet, so they're still a little bit bigger than they need.
Very good, thank you very much. So then hearing no comments or question, I'll call it to a vote. Everyone in favor as presented? Carry.
Do you want to add anything, Paul?
Other than thank you, no.
No, we don't collect thank you.
Okay.
Now we'll go on, we'll need a resolution for 5.2 ZBLA 2022/06 Sahadat Room and Tiffany.
Woodburn, second, please.
Okay, Mr. Fisher and Mr. Rovido.
It is moved by Chris Fisher and seconded by Dan Ravita, whereas a public meeting was held on July the 11th, 2022 for the purpose of amending zoning bylaw 2014-45, and whereas no written concerns or objections have been received to the proposed amendment, be it therefore resolved that the Planning Advisory Committee for the West Nipissing Municipality recommends that the property located at 12390 Highway 64, and more particularly, I got to read that again. The Council for the West Nipissing Municipality adopt the proposed zoning bylaw to rezone the property at 12390 Highway 64, as more particularly shown on the attached sketch, and that Schedule F51 of bylaw 2014-45 shall be amended by changing the zoning designation of the property from CF Community Facilities to RU Rural. Through you, Mr. Chair, this property on your way up Highway 64, there used to be a tower just at the curve on the right-hand side of the property. This property is actually where the tower used to be. And it is the tower's gone and it's been zoned community facilities because it had infrastructure on it. So what is being proposed by this application is to rezone this property so that it will be able to be built upon. So the property is located right here on Highway 64. Two little properties, they look like little flags.
And I guess there should not be any problem when, and you, of course, you need all the regular permits, but because that was kind of a
It already has an entrance
commercial
permit.
access before anyway,
It's
and we're
perfect.
downgrading it to residential.
Yeah.
Is that clear to all the members?
Yeah.
Any questions from the members? Comments? Hearing none, I'll call to a vote. Everybody in favor as presented? Carried. Now, 5-3, ZBLA 2022, Central 7, Danielle and Giselle Grandbois, please. Mover and seconder.
Over in a second.
Okay, Mr. Fisher, Mr. July.
It is moved by Chris Fisher and seconded by Yvonne Heim. Whereas a public meeting was held on July the 11th, 2022 for the purpose of amending zoning bylaw 2014-45, and whereas no written concerns or objections have been received to the proposed amendment, be it therefore resolved that the Planning Advisory Committee for the West Nipissing Municipality recommends that Council for the West Nipissing Municipality adopt the proposed zoning bylaw to rezone the property at 11 Sunny Ridge Road, and more particularly shown on the attached sketch, and that Schedule E2 of Bylaw 2014-45 shall be amended by changing the zoning designation of the property from RU to Rural Exception Zone 10 in order to permit the construction of a second accessory dwelling. For you, Mr. Chair, this property is located at the corner of Sunny Ridge and Bear Lake Road. It has, right now, there is a single-family dwelling. The primary dwelling is under construction as we speak. And the intention of this application is to allow Mr. and Mrs. Grandbois to construct a second dwelling, I believe, for a family member on the property. The property faces Sunny Ridge Road and is right on the corner. So I'll just package.
Be coming up shortly there.
Hey. Okay, so, oops, that's the wrong one. It is right here. It is right at the corner of, that's the wrong one. There we go. Right there at the corner of Bear Lake Road and Sunny Ridge Road. It appears to be a parcel that was probably widowed by the road. Did you see the way the road goes?
That looks like a natural severance.
Yeah, I think it probably was, because I don't think we saw it at this committee, so. So that is all that this application entails of. I don't know whether or not Mr. and Mrs. Grandbois have anything to offer. No?
You're welcome to express if you have any comments. Is it okay, Monsieur, Madame Grandbois?
Oui,
Oui, oui, bonjour.
bonjour. Yeah, you actually said it quite well. It's my parents are elderly and we want them there at the property. We also have a son that's on Cache Lake. So we're just bringing the family together type thing. So, yeah.
Thank you for the confirmation. Any question or comments from the members?
There's enough property there. Mr. Chair, there's enough
We-
property there for the accommodate field bed and everything?
Yeah, and that's, I think, they've verified with the, it's a fairly huge property. It looks small on the map there, but
Yeah.
it's, it's,
Oh,
so, like, what, a couple of acres?
2.31.
About 2 point. So there should be room to accommodate
Okay,
more than
We've done
sufficient.
that. We've done the lot coverage and there's no issue with the lot coverage
it looks
calculation.
small.
Yeah, on this scale, it looks small, but I knew it was quite bigger than that.
Okay,
Okay, so any other comment or question or concern? Hearing none, I'll call to a vote. Everybody in favor as presented? Carried. Good luck for the next process. Just contact Mrs. Duchamp. She will inform you of all the things to do after the night. Okay, Monsieur, Madame Grandvoise, you understand?
They're frozen.
Oh, yeah, they're not moving anymore.
No big deal.
Okay, then we'll go on to 6.1 subdivision, subdivision 2022/01 by LGL Properties. Mr. Gaetan Vincent is the developer of this parcel as far as I know. Okay, a mover and seconder for Mr. Pellerin and Mr. Jain. Oh, you're missing a motion?
I'm missing a part of a motion. I missed it. Anyways, it is moved by Fern Pellerin and seconded by Yvonne Zuhain. It is, be it resolved that the West Nipissing Planning Advisory Committee make recommendation to council for the West Nipissing Municipality to approve a draft plan of subdivision located at, file, sorry.
That's it, off
I didn't-
Charles
For some
Street.
reason, the resolution printed blank, and I don't know why. But it is located at part of Lot 2, all right, yes, part of Lot 2, Concession 1 in the Township of Springer. Through you, Mr. Chair, this is the third phase of a subdivision process that has started early on after amalgamation. And the first phase, which I don't know, perhaps a couple of you were here, would have been Rive Street. And so Rive Street was built, and subsequent to that, La Chance was developed just, I guess, about the same time as I started in West Nipissing. And I'll just show you on the map where this thing is located. That's not the right thing. That's the wrong thing. I gotta get to the right screen. Apologies. Oh, why is it doing that? I apologize, I'm having technical difficulties with my situation.
And we all have a map in our packet.
Yes, you do have a map in your package. So what is being proposed here? So when you go down La Chance Drive, on the right-hand side, about halfway down, there's a space. And that was what was left as the Charles Street extension. So the services are there, and this will take off from Charles Street, heading southerly, 6 lots on either side of the road with the temporary.
Towards Legault Street.
Towards Legault Street. The intention is to go all the way to Legault eventually, but for this, for the purposes of this application, we're just looking at going to, I guess, we're just gonna go 12 lots. Okay, I've given up. I've given up on the
So
screen sharing.
I would imagine that Block A at the end of the proposed Charles Street, edit, would be for a turnaround for winter maintenance and all that.
Well, I'll let the consultant, Mr. Ted Architect, is here with us.
Oh, he
tonight.
is?
He's the
Okay.
consultant for Mr. Vincent. Perhaps he can provide an overview of what's going to happen here.
Yes, I'm on. Can everybody hear me? It's Ted Architect from AECom.
Hi, Ted.
Hi. Unfortunately, I don't have a camera, so you can only listen to my voice. But I can just tell you I'm quite handsome, but I don't have a camera. Anyways, through you, Mr. Chair, we've been involved with Gaetan Vincent to develop the 12 lots on Rue Charles Street.
Right.
And as the planning clerk, Ms. Ducharme indicated, it's about 200 meters, the street itself with 12 lots, 6 on each side. And they're about 22 meters. We've made them pretty well equal lots, the 6, 22.5 meters by 63, 62 meters deep. So they're nice large lots. The block A at the end of the proposed 12 lot subdivision, which is we call phase 3A, is that exactly for that purpose, for temporary turnaround for winter maintenance, and any other delivery vehicles that happen to go down, they can turn around properly to come back out on Promenade La Chance Drive.
Right. And I imagine I read all the papers that attached with it, and you'll be bringing the water and sewer line all the way to Legault Street, so the water will be in a loops system to meet all municipal expectation, right?
That is correct, Mr. Chair. Yes.
So I read it correctly.
That is right. Yes. We will loop the water main again to facilitate proper flow, fire flows and pressures. We'll loop right to Legault and tie into the water main there. In addition, yes, the subdivision will be fully serviced, storm sewer, sanitary sewer. One of the interesting policies of the West Nipissing now is that the lots will all grade to the street. There will be no rear yard swales. We'll make sure that's all picked up in the street drainage system and taken to a proper outlet, which will match into the existing storm sewer on Promenade La Chance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for your information, Mr. Chair, and committee members, we were involved in the Promenade La Chance Drive Phase 2, and all the necessary analyses for storm drainage, sanitary sewer, and water main were undertaken to ensure that there would be enough capacity for this extension of Phase 3A and Phase 3B, which would be extension to Legault at some future point.
Mhm. Very good planning process.
Thank you. But yeah, it was important because we know this is upstream. The development of Phase 3A and 3B, potentially in the future, is upstream of the existing development on Rive and Promenade La Chance. So we have to make sure that the existing capacity of the system that was already built would handle the future development.
Yes, and from my experience in that general area, the water table in the spring is very close to the surface, so it's a bit challenging to have proper drainage. I believe there's the height of land, if you want to call it, starts somewhere just at the south corner of Legault towards the intersection of Golf Course and Goulard Road, right?
That's right. Yes. That's right. That's an interesting point. We had undertaken a geotechnical investigation for Phase 2, which was Promenade La Chance. They've covered off five boreholes. Thank you, Melanie. There was a number of boreholes on La Chance. 2 were very close to Rue Charles, and it was found. You're absolutely correct. The water table was. We were surprised. It's quite variable. Some places it was 0.62 feet below the surface in the boreholes, and in one spot it was down to 3 meters, which was very strange to see. But generally, you're right. The water table is high, and that's why we have to. We're going to be raising the grade for the subdivision to ensure positive drainage for the subdivision. We have to tie in at the elevation at La Chance. There was provisions there for the sewer connections already for the future Rue Charles Street. So we'll be tying into those and extending it on Charles. That's right. And there's also provision there for storm sewer manhole catch basins right at that intersection that we'll be tying into. So we certainly have to match the grade there, but moving south into Rue Charles we'll have to be sensitive to the trying to get the grade high enough to prevent some future subsurface water problems. But
usually the water level there is affected by the level of the river when the dams are closed and if they're
okay, yes,
because that is a layer of porous sand under the topsoil there that goes out to that kind of ridge I told you. There's a kind of a clear ridge there, and
yes,
it help your boreholes must have indicated what I'm saying, right?
yes. Well, the boreholes, those boreholes were taken on for the phase 2, Lachance Promenade Lachance Drive, but we don't expect that the conditions in that general area would be much different.
Right.
Similar conditions. So,
and I guess also in your development, you'll be developing the street allowance from Lachance to these proposed new lots, right?
yes, that's correct. Yes, that little section beside the existing homes. Yes, that'll be the new Rue Charles Street, and then we'll extend that. The total distance from Promenade Lachance is 200 meters to that proposed turnaround on the new Rue Charles. About 200 meters.
Very good. So, and we, Mr. John?
Okay, just the same question I ask every time. Accommodations for sidewalks or the widening of the road, what has been decided here? I can't see it in the plan.
We have, I believe the design in this, correct me if I'm wrong, Ted, but
Yes.
we talked about it and we're going with sidewalks in this, were we not?
That is correct. Yes. Yeah. I can address that through you.
Right on. Good.
Through
Finally.
you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, we are finalizing some details with respect to the kind of the criteria for the treatments, but sidewalk is a given. There's gonna be a sidewalk. We're working with town staff to determine what the treatment will be for curbs or swales, similar to Promenade Lachance. But we have been in touch with town staff to establish the appropriate location of the services within the right of way to ensure that we accommodate all the underground miscellaneous services such as gas, Bell, Eastlink. We expect hydro to be overhead, but that's not been confirmed yet.
And lighting.
And lightning would be included?
Street lighting.
Yeah.
Street light?
Yes, it would. Yes, for sure.
And I'm
Yes.
sure you're aware that the municipality now requests LED type of, we're converting the whole municipality to LED.
Yes, yeah, we would incorporate the current standards, which is LED.
Right, okay. Yes, Mr. Revido.
Thank you. I've got a couple of questions. So Goulard Road, not Goulard Road. Melanie, could you put that thing up again? The
aerial?
picture? Yeah. Okay, so Melanie, put it towards Goulard Road.
You're inquiring about the existing storm drainage?
Yes, because what's happening right now, if you go down that's
Right.
storm going right down, there's an issue there. We have one of our citizens, it's his backyard is flooded every spring, and this spring was really a bad spring. So will this make the problem worse, or will this make the problem better?
Well, that's a
Well,
good
it's good.
question. Yes. Sorry, Melanie, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Ted.
Yeah,
I
through
was
you,
gonna say, I
Mr.
hope
Chair.
not.
Yeah, no, through you, Mr. Chair. No, the intent is certainly not to make it worse. We understand that there's challenges in this area of Sturgeon Falls. The grades are very flat. Under the Rive subdivision, I guess Rive Street and Promenade La Chance Phase 2, there was a large ditch, a kind of what do we call the main drainage ditch that was constructed that went in behind the homes. I think that's the one that you're referring to that goes east to then back up to Goulard. I think that's the one you're referring to.
Yeah, that's the one I'm referring to. What's happening, what's happening is that it seems that it's not draining properly. And the young individual that has his house, you can see the house right there.
I see the house there, yes.
He's having flood problems in the springtime. And unfortunately, and the vacant lot next to it, it gets flooded too. So I don't know. I just hope that it doesn't make his problem worse. We've had more. I put in a couple of requests in to find out what we can do, because it might be easy enough to just bore underneath the road at Goulard and then let it run down towards the river. Because the thing is, the water just hangs there and it doesn't have anywhere to go. Like it doesn't. You would think it would naturally go down to the river on the north side of Goulard, but it doesn't. So something has to be done to mediate that problem, because he's having this has been in spring that it hasn't been too nice when you can't even go into your backyard until the month of June or July. So no,
exactly, yes.
So that's one issue.
Can I just sorry, Mr. Rovita, through you, Mr. Chair. It's interesting. The original subdivision for in phase 2, it had the drainage outlet in behind all the homes on Rive, and then going west, and then going out across Coursol Road to the drainage course behind the properties there up in the corner here. Yes, that's what exactly. And there's the crossing right there, the culvert right there. So that's interesting that you say that, because I believe there's also a ditch there that's supposed to take the drainage from the subdivision.
I've looked at it and it doesn't seem to be too deep. But that's only
that's interesting.
I don't know.
As sorry, through you, Mr. Chair, as Mr. Architect indicated, it's flat. I remember I had just started here when this La Chance was, and there was a lot of difficulty with the original drainage because there simply wasn't enough grade to get it up here, behind here, and to take it up
around.
Here.
Oh boy.
And it wouldn't. There wasn't enough grade because the intention was to bring it up along the north side of the Rive Street properties out to Coursol and out to the river, but there wasn't enough grade, so the design was changed to bring it here.
Oh, I see. Okay,
yeah,
so that was a change.
It's not.
Yes.
Yeah, so this was a change, and because the owners owned this property, they were able to do this because they owned
Accomplish
this.
that. Yes.
They could accomplish this by providing an easement through their existing property to take it to Goulard Road.
But
we do know that it's tough to get enough grade to get that water to go very fast there.
Yeah.
Well, there's some complaints in, so I won't be lit. I won't. No, you heard what I said, and that's about. And the assurance, it's notated. Thank you. The other thing too that I want to know is just 22 meters is how. Can you convert that to feet, please?
Sure. 22 meters would be about 60. That's 72 feet.
72 feet by, and
yes.
and that's going to be
62. So it's up
Oh.
to about 64, 62 to 64. That's
And then-
200,
Wow.
210 feet.
Wow, that's good. Okay, so there, and then there was something else that I wanted to ask. This is being zoned as residential one, so I guess that would imply that there won't be any duplexes or added homes on those lots, Melanie?
No, single-family dwellings at this time.
Mhm.
That's it. Okay. Other question would be through you, Mr. Chair, and I guess it would be to Mr. Vincent. What are we looking at in regards to time frame? I know subdivisions can be on the books for a number of years, but because of the shortage of housing in our community, this is pretty exciting. And when I look at that, I think that this is like great. Is there a time frame, Gaetan? Can I ask Mr. Vincent? Is there a time frame that he feels that it's going to be developed?
Yeah, well, the initial plan was to start last year, but we got stuck into some development issues or miscommunication and design issues. So right now we're hoping to have a couple of houses being put up this fall if everything goes well and according to plan. But it's still my first subdivision, so I'm finding red tapes and yellow tapes and orange tapes a little all over the place. So we'll see as it goes, but there's plans to have a couple of houses up this year.
Oh, excellent. And thank you very much, because this is what we need. And because of the shortage we have, this is exciting because it's going to be nice lots, really nice lots. So thanks a lot.
Okay, Mr. Pellerin, you had a question?
Yeah, just a couple comments. I'm glad to see that the stormwater management is going to be through catch basin. I think that's what it should be everywhere within the city limit, including sidewalks. I think we've talked about that before. And the design for you said there wasn't enough grading to go to the river, but I guess it's too late now. But at the time, it should have been done, because the shortest route to the river, the more grade you're gonna get. Now they went all the way around, like it's about half a mile.
I don't,
It doesn't make sense.
the decision had been made just before I started here, and unfortunately, the person who was engineering for the municipality at the time was no longer here. So I'm not privy to all of what the discussions were and how we got to where we were, but it is what it is.
Because the river is the same level everywhere. So if you can go 100 feet or half a mile, you go to 100 feet, you get a lot more grade.
Yeah, that's, but I guess.
I'm just.
There's things we don't know that led to that decision, so.
Yeah.
And I think the original landowner was in favor of that, but now he's not there anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, but any other, oui, Monsieur Rivida? You're mute,
Put your sound on.
you're mute, Mr. Rivida.
Oh, people like to see that. People like it when I mute anyways, but okay, I'm sorry. So my other question is, the lots that are on, that'll be on Shall Street, and the ones are they butting right up to the backyards of La Chance, or is there an easement there?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the lots 1 and 7 on the plan are directly behind the lots on Promenade La Chance. So, and there's no easement there.
Okay,
No.
okay, that's all I wanted to know. I just thought,
That's fine.
well, I didn't think. No, I know. Well, I asked the question because I didn't know. So thank you. You answered my question.
Yeah. But that being said, through you, Mr. Chair, we're going to have to be extra careful. We talked about the grades for the new subdivision and making sure we address and kind of balance the high water table, the amount of fill, matching existing conditions. So we're going to be, having to be quite careful to make sure that we match the grades there on those lots so we don't create any impacts on the backyards of those lots. So it's going to be, we'll have to deal with that, but I'm sure we can manage.
Yeah, that's.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for the confirmation. That's why I raised this issue, because I had some concern that Pierre Larry. Yes, Madame Mélanie?
I just wanted to ask Ted if he could elaborate on the discussion that we had regarding the parkland dedication.
Sure. Through you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Vincent had decided that instead of incorporating a really small cul-de-sac off of a future road that ran to the east of the development,
Right.
there used to be a small cul-de-sac with about 5 really odd lots which is now called Block C. So we decided in consultation with the Mr. Vincent and the town to create that as parkland.
That's a big
For
piece.
future
That's nice.
dedication to parkland.
But what is the access going to be to it?
Well, as shown on the draft plan of subdivision, what we're proposing is from Promenade La Chance at the end of lot 14, the last lot 14, as you see in the northeast corner, we propose a 3-meter easement that runs all the way along, and will follow the east side of Block C all the way, so that you'll have a 3-meter easement for pedestrian access to get to the parkland.
So that, in other words, would serve also those on Promenade La Chance. They could walk down that and access that park.
That's right.
We'll have to have a conversation because I think we need a bit wider access than that for emergency vehicles.
Well,
I don't know that 3
yeah.
meters would be sufficient.
That's about 12 feet.
yeah,
3 meters,
that's
10 feet.
about 10 feet. Yeah, 10
It's-
feet. Yeah. We've in general practice, we have incorporated pedestrian walkways, pedestrian easements in the 3 meters, but they have also been wider. So that's something that we're going to have to look at. I don't see a problem with creating it wider. Those
And
lots,
I think,
those lots are
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
deep off the future street.
yeah, and the thing that I was just in my mind thinking that, if people are going to be walking down the side of this lot here, you'd probably need to include some kind of attenuation or buffering along this boundary so that you don't have people cruising down everybody's side yard. It's just, things
Yeah.
that I'm thinking about as we're talking. And also if it were to be developed as parkland, obviously there would be a need to at least be accessible to emergency services in the event of, some catastrophic event.
Right.
Yes, yeah, that's some good points. Yes, for sure. And that's something that we can have discussion now. The other option is cash in lieu of. But I mean, Mr. Vincent had, is kind of committed to the parkland, thinking that it'd be good for the community. But from what I'm hearing, we'll have to work out some details.
How we're gonna get there.
Yes.
Very good. Yeah, and I really appreciate the proposal of having some parkland because we're running out of it. Oui, Monsieur Pellerin?
Yeah, just to add to Melanie's comment, for sure you need more room because if you want to get a machine in there to do some work, you gotta get in.
But I guess that's a discussion you will be confirming with the the staff that looks after maintenance and all that, and
We'll discuss it.
Mhm.
In general, the parkland will be where it is, you know, the access to it might change a wee bit, but we'll ensure that it's, you know, appropriate for pedestrian and vehicular traffic.
that's very good. I think the intention is good, so just some fine tuning before going to council.
Well, that's tomorrow night.
Yeah, but
We'll
I
have
mean,
that conversation before the plan is laid down, it will be fixed.
okay, any other question or comments from the members? So hearing none, I'll call it to a vote on all on this subject matter and everything that's been discussed or proposed. Everybody in favor?
Oh, yes, a big yes from me.
Two.
Last item on the agenda.
Oh, that's the deeming bylaw that I referred to at the beginning.
Yeah. So through you, Mr. Chair,
Oh, excuse me?
I
think I should have a motion.
think I better do that.
I didn't want to cut you off.
Nope,
Okay, proposer, seconder for
I think
the,
we're paying attention.
okay, Mr. Fisher, Mr. Rovido.
It is moved by Chris Fisher and seconded by Dan Revita, whereas the owner of Lot 31, Registered Plan 36M598, has applied to the West Nipissing Municipality to have the lands deemed to be not lots on Registered Plan of Subdivision pursuant to Section 50 Sub 4 of the Planning Act. Be it therefore resolved that the West Nipissing Planning Advisory Committee recommends that the West Nipissing Municipality pass a bylaw deeming Lot 31, Plan 36, and it should actually be let me check. Registered Plan 36M598 to not be a lot on a plan of subdivision. So I just want to, down here. Oh, she didn't give me the sketch. Sugar. Yeah. I think actually it is lot 30 that we need to deem, not 31.
It's not 30 and 31 that we're
Yeah,
dealing.
but we don't need to deem the one that's being split. We only need to deem the one that's being added on to. So it's actually lot 30. The resolution, there's no statement resolution. It's lot 30. If you look at your package, what it is there's, the lot's got a kind of a skewed middle lot line, and the developer wants to build the home on a straight,
To match it.
to match the street line, straight with the street line. And in order to use there are two existing lots of subdivision, to be able to use the existing lot line as the dividing line, the house would have to be built on a skew. So instead, they're going to take a little sliver off the one lot and add it to the other lot. So the whole lot is being deemed and the other lot will be split and added onto. So it's lot 30 that is being deemed, not 31.
And that is a continuation of that. He's already got two building up on the adjoining lots.
That's correct.
Beautiful buildings.
And so you'll see this lot line right here.
Mhm.
It's not straight. The rest of them are nice and straight and square with the street line. This one is on a, it's crooked.
Yeah.
He said one crooked house would look a bit strange.
Yeah, because he's doing a very nice job with that.
I'm hearing that. So that is the purpose of this application.
So is that clear to every member? No question or comments? Okay, carry.
So that ended what I thought was going to be a very long agenda.
And we have number 8, future meeting discussion.
Yes.
And I believe this issue is that in the future, every member is comfortable with that for the hybrid system.
That's correct. Through you, Mr. Chair, at the last council meeting, you'll recall members of council discussed the returning to in-person meetings, and the general consensus at that time was to maintain flexibility for members of the public, members of council, to maintain a hybrid model. This room has been retrofitted to permit it's just a giant Zoom meeting, with this room being one participant in the meeting. I'm actually in the room. I just don't have the camera on me. But I think that the general consensus is that if people wish to participate electronically, they could do so. If they wish to come in person, they could do so, and it's entirely up to the individuals. But I'm just seeking concurrence from this committee to see if that's the way we want to go with this committee as well.
And me, I would, coming from a rural area that has limited access to the internet and it's not too dependable, I would highly recommend the hybrid system. I can see that younger generation are very comfortable with Zooming and YouTube, but yeah, I'm not so lucky at that. And I think my neighbor is pretty well the same. So, but I want to hear everybody's version. I see Mr. Fisher had his hand up. Please talk.
So I'm in complete agreement. I think it adds flexibility, and Mr. Goodrich is sitting in his office right now, and I'm sure he preferred, or in his home, I don't know, but I'm sure he'd prefer to be there than have to drive to Westminster and back. So it works for our consultants. It works for the public. You can have a second residence here. You could be in Toronto. You can still make the meeting if you want to. As much as I like to see you guys, I quite like to sit at home and do this as well. And I do have a question for Mel, because Mel, you do have a camera on you. How does that work? So is that your laptop?
I have my laptop is sitting in front of me.
You're Zooming within the Zoom room is what you're doing.
Yes, I'm over in the corner.
And that works great. That all works great. So I think it's a fabulous idea and the way to go. Thank you.
Yeah, but she's very young, so she's very comfortable with technology.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair.
Any other comments or questions? So I guess everybody is in favor that we adopt the hybrid system. We need a motion for that, or just
direction. Yeah. So the notices that will go out with the next meeting will be changed to indicate that the meeting, it's a public meeting. So if members of the public want to come in and make their representation, if Paul wants to schlep all the way over here to Sturgeon Falls, he can do so, or he can stay where he is as he pleases, or any member of the public who wishes to make deputation can do so either by Zoom or and I think we'll continue to live stream the meetings. It's been very well received. People are, they enjoy the fact that they can just watch if they want. So I think that we'll continue with that. We have the technology, so.
And to reinforce my statement earlier, I felt that during the meeting that there was a couple that had an item on it, and when we asked for their opinion, their system froze and they could not express themselves. I would have liked to hear their comment, and they got froze out.
Sometimes technology is not perfect.
Yeah, and they live in a mining area, and it's limited capacity. So since everybody is okay with that, we'll go on to item 8.2. I've discussed this issue with the municipal planner, Mrs. Duchamp. She's made a statement, I think, on the situation. And since I was the one that's before Christmas that asked that on the agenda, but for some reason or others, we have not really dealt with it. And now with all the workload, all the building permits going on, and she has to look at most of them, municipal election coming up, which usually put a lot of pressure on staff. And that is an issue that will require a lot of research to have a property. So my recommendation after discussing it would be that maybe we defer it to the incoming council, so then they can have part of the winter to really do and give staff some breathing time and catch up. I don't know how come they're still holding together there, because they're putting 12 hours a day, and to add another survey, I think would not be fair for us to do that. So I'm asking what the members, their opinion, Mr. Jaime.
I'm fine.
Okay, Mr. Ferd, Mr. Rovida.
Totally agree with you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Mr. Fisher.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that, as per the thing, it is a very complex issue. it will take, it's probably something that's going to demand public consultation. So let's give it to the new council. I'm all for that. Thank you.
So you, okay, man?
I appreciate, thank you for the direction, and I want members to know that I'm not copping out. It's, the more I research, the more complicated it gets, and the municipalities across the province are grappling with this, because it's a big beast.
Yeah.
And it has different ramifications for every corner of the municipality, and it affects a lot of things. It's not as simple as just saying yes or no.
Yeah.
There's a lot of maybe.
So that's why I think it's better to play it safe and come back later. So any other issue or comments that the members would like to bring before we call this over? So I'll accept a resolution to adjourn this meeting. Moved by Mr. James, seconded by Mr. Fern, that this meeting be adjourned to August, whatever date.
I think it's the 8th or 9th. Would be the, unfortunately, we'd like to take August off, but we already have applications in the drawer that I didn't know about until today.
That, okay, the second Monday would be the 8th.
The 8th, August the 8th. So it is moved by July-11 and seconded by Fern Pellerin. Be it resolved that the West Nipissing Planning Advisory Committee held on July the 11th, 2022, be adjourned to August the 8th.
Okay, everybody in favor? Carried. Thank you. Have a good evening. And we'll take a little break for the other meeting.
Chris,
Are you just gonna leave this on, or do I have to?
I'm
leave
gonna
off?
leave that. I'm just gonna, turn your thing. I'm just gonna go dark.
Yeah.
It's gonna mute
okay,
everybody.
Okay, fine. I got it.
Oh, what about that? Oh, maliwan. Kapag mo, sila Melanie? Allez, voilà. Tout à l'heure, ça fait toute la net, toute la shiny.
C'est rendu, là, c'est.
Je dirais que je suis correct. Ça commence à se présenter, là.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Salut, Roger.
I didn't get a chance to say hello before the other meeting because it took me so damn long to type that address in on the website.
Why don't you just click?
I can't find your damn agendas on your website. Come on, why don't you put a nice little tab button to click to it?
It couldn't be simpler.
Neither could I.
Mr. Norm, is it hard to find the agenda on the website?
I didn't have problem.
Everyone has problems finding it
No,
on the
and
website.
Roger, did you have any problems finding the agenda on the website?
No, because I go and get it at the town hall.
What am I going to do with you people?
I like it on paper.
You can't turn off your computer.
The paper's coming to an end. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Okay.
Because I'm pulling the plug on the paper very soon.
After the mandate is done.
Don't put the batteries in. Just turn it off.
3 minutes. White background, I look like just need a mug and the flag. I just need a number in front of my chest here.
How come we don't see you, Mel?
I can see me.
We see her.
Yeah.
Is it?
I see Mal.
Now I see Chris.
Me and Fern were small. We went on a diet for the meeting order.
So, Roger, there's a setting, there's a view setting on the top corner of the screen there, and that allows you to change the way the windows are tiled.
Okay, so. Donc, centré. Non. Il s'en vient bien, là. Il a roué. Bon, là. Nice.
How's that?
Ah, that looks better.
We have the technology. And it's just about that time.
Okay. I will call the meeting to order. Good evening. Bonsoir tout le monde. Any declaration of pecuniary interest?
Through you,
Yes,
Mr. Chair. So I will just note that the second item on the agenda, the Dukes, it does abut my property corner. It's not really a pecuniary interest, and I have no problem with the application. I just, in the interest of transparency, think everybody should know that. Thank you.
Take your seat.
He lives next door.
Lequel?
Legit. C42.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Mr. Fisher. Then we'll go on to addendum and agenda. I don't believe we have any addendum tonight, eh?
We don't.
Don't. We'll go on to adopt the agenda. I'll move her and seconder, please. Mr. Fisher, Mr. Fern Pellerin.
It is moved by Chris Fisher and seconded by Fern Pellerin. Be it resolved that the agenda for the West Nipissing Committee of Adjustment meeting of July the 11th, 2022 be adopted as presented.
Everybody in favor? Carried. Then we'll have the adoption of the minutes. A mover and seconder, please. Mr. Fisher and Mr. Gagnon.
It is moved by Chris Fisher and seconded by Roger Gagnon. Be it resolved that the minutes of the West Nipissing Committee of Adjustment meeting held on June the 13th, 2022 be adopted as presented.
Okay, everybody in favor as circulated? Yes, carried. I don't believe we have any agency comments. No. Then we'll go on to the list of application. Before I start, for the information of people listening, the general public, this is what they call a quasi-judicial meeting. So therefore, to make sure that everybody's right is protected, please state, or if you want to speak on any issue, please state your name and address, because this is being recorded, and that would guarantee that if you ever have concern or want to place an appeal or whatever, then you're recorded as having participated in the meeting. Also, to make sure that everybody gets a clear picture of what's going on, anybody that has a problem understanding English, please express yourself in French, and we'll translate or make sure that you understand what is going on. Is that clear for everybody? C'est clair pour tout le monde? Merci. On va commencer. Consent application C41/22, Stephen Gilmet on Pretier Road. Mover and seconder, please. Mr. Fern Pellerin, Mr. Chris Fisher.
It is moved by Fern Pellerin and seconded by Chris Fisher. Be it resolved that consent application made by Stephen Gilmet for the creation of new lots on Trottier Road is approved in the following conditions. Reference plan be prepared, confirmation of taxes are paid, that all conditions be met before July 12, 2024, that a transfer deed be submitted, and the road, if there's any portion of the municipally maintained road located on the property, it will be conveyed. And the municipal clerk shall, pursuant to section 65(1), instruct the municipal engineer to apportion the assessment for drainage maintenance on the Cochane Drain. Through you, Mr. Chair, this application is for lots on Trottier Road, 2 new lots, just at the curve where Trottier Road, right at the bottom corner where Trottier Road curves and heads there. Both of the lots are proposed to be of the sufficient size and lot area to meet the bylaw. We did receive correspondence late today from Daria Schwartzentruber. Dear Mrs. Ducharme, the letter is being submitted in response to the consent application made by Stephen Gilmet. Mr. Gilmet is requesting the creation of 2 new lots on an area with unresolved water issue. I'm the current owner of the parcel on the east side of Trottier Road and directly across from Mr. Gilmet's land. Presently, excess water from Mr. Gilmet's land flows onto my land, rendering a portion of the farmland unworkable. The drainage presently in place is unable to support the excessive water flowing from Mr. Gilmet's land. The unresolved water issue has been increasing in severity with each passing year. This past winter, the excess water washed away a portion of the roadway and caused formation of numerous large holes along the culvert currently in place. A municipal drain has been requested for this area by Mr. Roy Haynes. To my knowledge, the municipal drain project is still in the testing and engineering stage, and no construction is scheduled to begin or be completed before the proposed lots are created. I'm well aware that there's presently a large number of municipal projects in the works. The affected landowners and the Committee of Adjustment hereof should be at the very least received written update on the status of the municipal drain before the consent application can be considered. The current water issue on Mr. Gilmet's land is primarily in the area of the new lots that are being proposed. The municipal drain project presently directly affects 3 parcels of land, and as such, the 3 landowners, if the municipality approves the consent application before the project's completed, there's a possibility of 2 additional landowners on the west side of Trotsky Road where the water originates. With the severance and sale of the new lots, the presumption arises there will be some sort of development without completion of the municipal drain project prior to the sale. It's profitable that any development of the land will cause additional water issues in the area, including the creation of dangerous road hazards. In the event that the committee chooses to allow the creation of the new lots and prior to some form of resolution of the water issues, I request a holdback by the municipality of a portion of any sales proceeds received to be applied towards the municipal drain project.
So on this issue, yes,
I just want to speak, there was a drainage petition received approximately 3 years ago from the former owner of the property, which she's speaking of. That property, the deceased owner of that property, as far as I'm aware, the drain petition has been held in abeyance pending contact by the new owner. To my knowledge, the new owners of the property have not reached out to the municipality, so the drainage project is in abeyance at the moment. So I will correspond with Mrs. Schwarzenegger and advise her that the new owners need to come to us, not the other way around, because we didn't want to make the presumption that the petition would go forward with the owner having died.
yes. So, and furthermore, the farm drainage situation is not within the perimeter of the Planning Act, as far as I know. And the affected owner that's claiming no flooding damages could actually request an engineer's report on a municipal drain to solve the issue, because he's on the receiving end of it. So I don't think, I appreciate that the person has concerns, but I think those concerns don't directly apply to what we're dealing with. So I'm just filing that form, and you're welcome, Madame Planner, if you want to inform this person that he should look at to addressing the drainage issue through the Drainage Act.
I will do that. Had I received it a little bit earlier, I would have probably had more information or been able to have more time to talk, but it just came in by email late this afternoon, so.
So every member concur with the statement I've just made? Yes, Mr. Fisher.
So I just so it's clear in my own mind, so the stipulation number 6, that the municipal clerk shall pursuant to the Drainage Act instruct the municipal engineer to apportion an assessment, et cetera, et cetera. How does that apply to this problem? Because the photograph of the road looks to be a fairly severe problem. So just how does that apply?
Mrs. Chalmers is going to answer.
Through you, Mr. Chair, that area of the municipality is is extremely flat, and the water, the lake is about the same level as the land there. As a result, there are a bunch of municipal drains down there. The one that I'm referring to in my conditions is the Corshane drain. It's at the northerly end of Mr. Guilmette's property. The portion of the property that is being referred to by Ms. Schwarzenegger is at the southerly end of Mr. Guilmette's property. His property is about a half a mile deep. So there's, but the municipality is aware of the drainage area issues in that area, and that is why we were working with the former landowner with regard to a new drain to outlet some of this water that she's referring to. So I will reach out to her. But there's on this property alone, there's 2 existing municipal drains, the Halfley drain and the Corshane drain existing, plus a petition for another drain.
Would Mr. Goodrich have any mention? I see that you're the consultant for this application. Do you have any comments on the matter?
Well, with the letter just coming in at the last minute, obviously we didn't have a chance to be appraised of it either. The southerly of the 2 lots, though, there is a bedrock outcropping down in that southeast corner of the property. And probably 95% of the more southerly of the two severed would be up on the rock. And it looks like the northerly of the two would also have a portion where they could build up above as well. So I'm not sure if if the road is being washed out by the drainage issues. I don't see like I'm just went to like a Google Earth type of image on the MNRF's website, and it's just, it looks pretty much the same as everything else south of Werner Farm Fields and bedrock outcroppings. So I don't see any standing water, at least in this photo. Maybe it's because of the time of year that the aerial image was shot. But if there's drainage issues that are washing out the road, I would think that the Public Works Department would also be already well aware of these issues and would be seeking to resolve them as well.
Municipality was part of the initial consultation for the drain.
So I think any other question, Mr. Fern?
Yeah, just, I think there's a mistake there in the condition approval, number 5, that 10 meters from the center line instead of 30 meters. That's what's recommended.
10 meters seems like a lot.
30 meters.
But you have 30 there.
You have 30
On what?
from the center line.
On the conditions?
Yeah.
I have 10 on my resolution.
On the resolution, okay. Because
We got 30.
on the,
Okay, there's a mistake and there's a typo in the summary sheet. It's 10 on the resolution.
okay, thank you.
30 meters, that's a big road.
Yeah.
No, it's correct on the resolution. Thank you.
Yeah, Highway 401. Yes, Mr. Fisher.
So I just have a quick question. So now I've pulled up an aerial view of it. So that piece in question, there's a little piece of field there, but this rural, and I see all the fields around it. Are the other fields, just for my own general knowledge, is the field across the street, is that actually zoned agriculture, or is this all just zoned rural?
It's all rural.
It's all rural.
All rural.
And it's being made into fields. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I just use the measurement tool on this website, to clearly indicate that the 120 meters for the two lots goes to just up to the north edge of the bush area. So both lots would have building sites that were well up and above if that was required.
Okay.
I'll just, so we can all see the nice new tiles that were installed in there.
Okay.
Yep.
So the two lots that we would be looking at would be right here in this corner here where this bush is located. The municipality has a mutual agreement drain with the former landowner there's an outlet right here. When this field was tiled, there was an outlet was required. So there is an existing mutual agreement drain right here as a stopgap measure, but the intention was to, actually convert this to a municipal drain, which would involve cleaning this natural course out and improving the drainage in this area for these fields.
Very good. Thank you very much for additional information. So, any other question or comments? So, okay, I'll call it to a vote. Everybody in favor as explained? Carried. We go on to 42/22, Denis and Pierrette Leduc, please. A mover and seconder. Chris and Roger.
It is moved by Chris Fisher and seconded by Roger Gagnon that a consent application made by Denis and Pierrette Leduc for creation of new lots at 165 Leduc Road in the West Nipissing Municipality be approved on the following conditions: that a reference plan be prepared and deposited in the Land Registry Office, that all taxes be paid, that all conditions be met before July 12th, 2024, that a transfer deed be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer, and in the event that any portion of the municipally maintained and traveled road be located on the subject lands, that 10 meters from the center line of the maintained and traveled road be surveyed and transferred to the municipality at the owner's cost. Through you, Mr. Chair, this property is located on Leduc Road. This was, Paul, is this the retained land out of the severance from last year?
No, this is the uncle's land to the south.
Okay.
Same family, just different people.
Okay. So what is being proposed is 2 new lots, one in 3.2 hectares, the other 3.3 hectares, each having about 100 meters of frontage, all well in excess of the required lot area and frontage for the rural zone.
Yeah, they're huge lots, yeah. So any question or comments? Hearing none, I'll call to a vote. Everybody in favor, carried. We'll go on to C43/22, Monsieur Jean Robitaille. And there's a whole bunch of name after that.
We're in a seconder.
Oh, yes, Mr. Fisher and Mr. Fern.
It is moved by Chris Fisher and seconded by Fern Pellerin. Be it resolved that consent application made by Jean Robitaille, Denis Robitaille, and Paulette Murphy in the estate of Leonard Robitaille for the creation of new lots on St. Mary's Road in the municipality of West Nipissing is approved on the following conditions: that a reference plan be prepared and deposited in the land registry office, confirmation that taxes are paid, that the conditions be met before July 12, 2024, that a transfer deed be submitted to the secretary treasurer. In the event that any portion of the maintained road is located on the property, the 10 meters from the center line be surveyed and transferred at the owner's cost, and that a minor variance be granted in the lot for the reduction in lot area for the severed and retained lands, because there is a concurrent application with this one. Through you, Mr. Chair, this property is located on St. Mary's Road. And I'm just going to pull up the screen here for this so that we can see what we're dealing with here. So this lot is, although has very little road frontage, it does have lots of water frontage, and it's on a little peninsula down into Muskasong Lake. I initially had some concerns and still do with respect to the proposed entrance because it is very, very narrow at that particular location. I just want to pull it up on the aerial so that you can see what the property looks like from above. The road over in that area, correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, is located almost entirely on Crown land.
That's correct.
That is correct over there. Why am I not seeing this? Oh, let's go on. There we go. So I just want to pull this up so we can see what's going on here. Share my screen. No, I'm going to share my screen again. Switch screens. Okay, so the property is down here. In the corner, and you'll see it has the road comes along here, and it doesn't have an awful lot of frontage.
Yeah, but.
Oh, you can't see it. Well, I'll be darned. Sorry, people.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Certainly.
Okay, like on the east side of that point there at the top, if you look to the right of it, it's the dotted line is what defines the road allowance or the road.
Yes.
So then that 23.8 meter could be classified as road access? From the pointed line to.
Yep, sorry. Yeah, the dotted line is basically the center line of the road itself. And this mapping, the boundary lines, the thin black lines, they're not exactly drawn to scale. But what we've done is we've taken the narrowest point between the, you can see where the property line jogs in front of the neighbor to the east, right there where the arrows are right now. We've taken and extended that across to the west boundary, split that in half, which gives each side 45 feet within which to construct a driveway. Right now, there's an existing driveway. You can just see it through the trees. It kind of winds its way around. It actually, where it crosses onto the yellow portion, the neighbor's lot to the west, where the driveway is, was exempted from that original patent. So it's still Crown land where the driveway comes out to the neighbors. Now, the neighbor applied, though, to acquire the Crown land between their lot and where the road is. And, you know, but when they patented that land, they did not leave a reservation for the existing driveway. I just don't think they were even aware of it at the time. But in any event, the neighbors all get along. So right now, there's no issue with access. However, everyone knows in planning, neighbors change, people die, people sell, people get divorced, whatever, and suddenly it is a problem. So that's why we gave each of the severed and the retained lands, even though they have the driveway access, we wanted to make sure that if a new driveway ever had to be constructed, that both the severed and the retained would have access to St. Mary's Road. And you know, 45 feet wide, certainly big enough to put a 10 or 12 foot wide driveway along.
Yes, Madam Chan?
Well, I'm just questioning the severed lands having only 1.5 meters of frontage.
It actually wraps around. So you have the straight portion coming where you had your arrow a little while ago. Move your arrow straight up.
So you mean
Yep.
right here?
Right there. That's actually a lot longer than what it shows on this representation. That is actually 23.8 meters or roughly 78 feet. Plus they have the extra 1.5 on the piece parallel to the road, which is about 5 feet. So altogether, in terms of frontage, the severed land would have about 83 feet of frontage, but it is on a skew. And that's why what I said before, we extended the line kind of from the midpoint straight back to be at the midpoint where the jog is for the neighbor to the east, so that they would both have more than adequate access to put a driveway out to St. Mary's Road. Now, right now, like I say, everyone's using the existing driveway that's there, but this was just for long-term planning if a new driveway had to be constructed.
So, okay, and let me again get this straight. The driveway to this property is not on this property. The driveway to this property is on this property?
Right now, it crosses where it says Part 4 up above.
Here?
But yeah, that was the additional Crown land that was acquired to get access out to where St. Mary's Road actually was.
But that's owned by the neighbor.
That is fully owned by the neighbor. And when that land was patented, it did not leave a reservation for the existing roadway into the Robitaille property. When you look down below where it says Plan NR 1874, that they left a strip of land on that plan in Crown land where the driveway is actually located. So it's kind of funny that the Robitailles can cross what appears to be the neighbor's property, but it's still Crown land. But as soon as they get up to the Part 4, it gets cut off. So that's why we wanted to ensure that if there was ever a driveway or two driveways that needed to be constructed, that both the severed and the retained would have frontage, sufficient frontage to at least get a driveway out to St. Mary's Road.
I guess I'm concerned about approving a severance where neither the severed nor the retained is accessing their property through their own property without any.
But we're approving a severance that gives them the right to be able to build that driveway. Right now, if there's no objection from the neighbor and all the neighbors are happy, everything just continues as it is. However, if the neighbor ever disputes them crossing, the piece that they've recently acquired, then of course at that point in time, the Robitaille would have to construct their driveways, and actually the Robitaille also purchased the land. Oops, I'm sorry. Can you put that back up on the screen, Mel?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
just trying to wrap my head around this.
Okay, so because you'll see a dashed line running more or less east-west. Go down to where it says lands to be retained. Okay, right there. You can see that there's a different pin number on the point. That was the original Robitaille property. And it was a long way from the road. It was water access only. Now, they always used the access across the Crown land, which was the driveway, which also crossed onto the neighbor's property to get out to St. Mary's Road. After the neighbor acquired the portion behind to the north of their holdings for direct access to St. Mary's Road, the Robitaille did the same thing. And part 1 on plan 36R 11503 was the plan by which they acquired the Crown land to give the point direct access to St. Mary's Road. So because there's always been peace in the neighborhood, the neighbors have gotten along, everyone's just used the same driveway. But we all know that doesn't necessarily always carry forward. And until it becomes an issue, there really isn't any point in constructing new driveways at this point in time.
Oui.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'm going to float it, but it would be my recommendation that a condition of the severance that each the severed and retained both obtain their own entrance permits and entrances to each before this lot is split as a condition. I don't know how I feel about severance where the entrance, that neither the severed nor the retained have legal access. It doesn't meet the bylaw. It doesn't meet our bylaw.
But they do have legal access. Even the last severance that we did on Trottier Road, both of them front on the road. Neither one currently has an access point. These front on the municipally maintained road. If it's a requirement that an entrance permit be obtained, it's no problem. The entrance can be installed, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to build the driveway the whole length of the lot unless there's an issue. If the neighbor prefers that, right now it is the neighbor's land, although I do believe a mistake was made when they patented out the northerly portion of the neighbor's properties, because they did not recognize, and at that point in time, the Robitaille lands had not yet acquired the Crown land out to the road themselves. But like I say, nobody's really concerned with it. There's no reason why an entrance permit couldn't be issued at any time in the future. Both lots have frontage on the road.
It's more or less up here.
No,
Yeah, this is where he bought from the Crown so he could touch the road. He bought a piece of Crown here. Ça, c'est le chemin ici.
Juste là.
Ici, comme ici.
Mais ici, la ligne continue pas.
Parce que c'est tout Crown. This is everything above here is Crown. But this guy bought this guy. But this is municipal. But this guy bought this little piece here.
This one here.
Yeah, so that he'd have, this guy here bought this so that he would have access. These guys here cross, this is where the Crown starts. This is their lot line. And then they go over here to where they get to to the actual municipal
But
road.
now they're bringing the property right up to the road. So now they have frontage. Right?
Paul, for clarification, do your clients own this in here?
Yes. Yeah,
Yes?
the only reason we drew that little line across. So do you see where it says the 23.1, where it comes
Yeah.
down right there? So
Okay.
what we did at that point where you just had the cursor,
Mhm.
where it crosses that dashed line, that is the midpoint across that narrow section. So we gave each side 45 feet perpendicular width in order to bring a driveway out to the road.
Okay, so I just didn't quite understand. So when these guys acquired this part 4 on this 110, this 11045,
Mhm.
was there an additional part made for these, or did these ones already touch the road?
No, when 11045, it just extended that easterly boundary of the neighbor's property directly out to St. Mary's Road. And then I wish we'd sketched it in here. There actually is a portion of the neighbor's property that is still Crown land, because in their patent, it saved and accepted the piece shown on that old NR 1874 plan. But there wasn't the same allowance made when they created 11045. It really isn't that big of an issue, because subsequent to the neighbors acquiring the Crown land to give them access to St. Mary's Road, the Robitaille lands, which were initially just the point, they also acquired right out to St. Mary's Road by
So this here.
1503. Exactly.
Okay, so, okay, I think I get it now. This is just a little bit,
Different.
It's a little
It's a
fuzzy.
little different, yes. And then the reason for the split at this point in time, it's just keeping it within the family. This is an estate settlement. And then that was the reason for the application.
Family?
I guess so. Well, the lots are extremely small, but that's a conversation we'll have when we get to the minor variance. Or did you want to deal with the minor variance?
We
since
might
we're
as
here?
well complete both at the same time.
Okay, I'll-
Proposal seconder.
Let me just flip through here and grab it.
So we'll deal with the minor variance at the same time, Mr. Goodrich.
Wonderful.
I'll use the same mover and seconder. Chris and Fern. Okay, it is moved by Chris Fisher and seconded by Fern Pellenet. It is the decision of the West Nipissing Committee of Adjustment to approve the variance application made by Jean Robitaille, Denis Robitaille, Paulette Murphy, and the estate of Léonard Robitaille to reduce the lot area from 1 hectare, 2.5 of a hectare, in order to meet the severance. So these lots are considerably undersized. The only concern I have is that typically our official plan provides that we can allow this sort of division of less than where there are existing field beds. There is no field bed on this property here. And I do have some concern with respect to the reduction in lot area without an existing field bed. And now I understand from the individual that they don't have any intentions to do so, that it's a recreational lot. However, as I explained to them, we don't make plans for today, we make plans for the future. Would it be feasible that they be able to get a septic permit before, obviously they have to get a septic permit before anything could be built, but
You mean to get one right away?
I wouldn't mind having an inspection done by the Conservation Authority for the,
So in other words, you add the clause subject to the support of the Conservation Authority.
Now, is it the Conservation Authority, or would it be a septic installer as we have in the past for many other lots on the lake.
I'd like a letter from the Conservation Authority because they typically will indicate what the lot area and what the maximum size of a building can be put on it, like they did for the one on Canal Road, if you recall.
Yep. Well, and just with respect to the characterization of the lots as being very tiny, the retained lands are 2 acres. They're bigger than almost all of the other
I'm not
lots.
concerned about the retained lands. I'm asking about the severed lands because the retained lands have a field bed.
And okay, and so the severed, well, you wouldn't typically have 2 field beds before you sever anyway. The severed lands are 1.25 acres in size, which still is bigger than a lot of the lots to the east of this. And as well, when you wrap around to the far side, there's many lots of that same size on the northwest shore of the lake also.
I'm just
so-
making suggestions.
but-
The
but
committee
I-
can do
I
it. The
don't-
committee, it's the committee's decision. I'm just,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And
I appreciate the recommendation. And Mr. Goodrich, like sometime when we talk of field bed, people think of the usual, but there's disposal type, especially if it's just like a summer cottage, which are much smaller, require practically no land. And so I think it's a reasonable request that it's not a permit we're asking for, it's just that they would be willing to entertain some sort of residential waste disposal at that site.
Yeah,
All that time.
and I don't have an issue with that. We did the same thing for Mike Savage's lots with the Conservation Authority. I'm confident that they would receive a positive review from the Conservation Authority, given the size of the property and the type of terrain that it is. So I don't have an issue with that, and it was always contemplated in the official plan that to create a lot of less than 1 hectare on water, there would have to be some justification. So the recommendation of the Conservation Authority, I really don't have a problem with that.
Okay, so then our resolution is going to reflect that. It's not, doesn't have to be built now. If they only build a cottage 10 years from now, it will be 10 years from now.
I'd like the review before I stamp.
Oh, yeah, the review's got to be done first.
Yeah.
So everybody concur with that? Mr. President, you're thinking there.
Yeah. Where, one question to you, Paul. Where's the tile bed on the retained land?
To be honest, I'm not quite sure. Perhaps Jean, who's listening in this evening as well, he may be able to help. I believe it's in behind just where the existing cottage is right now, just from the look of it on the aerial imagery. But Jean, would you be able to answer that question with respect to where the cottage is and if there's an existing tile bed for the cottage?
Yes, I can answer for sure. However, what I'm experiencing right now is I can only follow about half the meeting. Our internet doesn't seem to be working too well tonight. And I didn't get the question. So if you could repeat, please.
Jean, do you know where the field bed, where the septic bed is for the cottage?
Yes, I do. Yes, it's about right behind the existing cottage. Can you see that on there? Just the way your arrow is there. Yeah, okay. There's the
In this
camera.
area.
Okay.
And the field bed is about where your arrow was. Move it to your right a little bit more. Yeah, right there. You had it.
Up
No,
here?
that's too far. Yeah,
In here.
it is. Right in front. And you see the outbuilding like the garage? It'll be in that clearing right in front of it. So
Okay, in here.
north.
That one. Okay.
So anyway, there's one outlet there. There's lots of room on the other, there's over an acre. Like, I don't have a problem with the application as it stands.
Okay.
I do have to follow the official plan though, that does require that where a lot under 1 hectare is being made on water, I have to have technical studies that
Yeah.
indicate that there's,
So
that it's sustainable. So the Conservation Authority does, we did the same thing on the property next door.
Correct. Okay. So,
Is it
yes,
clear
Mr.
for the
Fisher.
field bed, you
I,
guys?
I was just gonna say that, I agree with Melanie, and it's just a letter that we're looking for. It doesn't seem like too much of a burden. Let's just go with that, and I have no problem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So then I guess everybody concurs with, yes, Mr. Gagnon?
I agree with Mr. Fisher and Mr. Pellerin to go ahead with
Okay,
it.
so the resolution is carried. So, and then that automatically deals with the other one. We
Yes.
dealt with both.
Yes.
Okay, so item 3 and item 5.2.1 have been dealt with. Right?
Yep.
So we go on to item 4, C4422, the Cadia Property Incorporated.
Yes. Okay, a mover and a seconder.
Okay, Mr. Fisher and Mr. Gagnon.
It is moved by Chris Fisher and seconded by Rajah Gagnon that a consent application made by Cariac Properties for a lot addition on Niceville Street in the West Nipissing Municipality is approved in the following conditions. That a reference plan be prepared, that a confirmation of the taxes are paid, the conditions be met before July 12th, 2024, that a transfer deed be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer, and that any portion of the municipally maintained road be transferred at the owner's cost, and that a PIN consolidation be registered in the Land Registry Office in order to consolidate the severed lands with the lands to which they are being added. Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll just quickly, we saw this application at the previous meeting because it is it's a lot addition. So what is being proposed here, as I indicated, this is Niceville Street. The original lot line between the two lots is right here. And it's on a bit of a skew. What's being proposed is to build a semi-detached dwelling. And in order to have the party wall lot line run up through the middle, they need to add on this piece onto this property here, which is basically just kind of just swinging this existing lot line over here to straighten it out so that they can place the building straight on the property. There was a concurrent deeming bylaw at the prior meeting in order to deem lot 30 because it is having the property added onto it, which will it requires to be deemed to not be a lot on a plan of subdivision in order to do this. The other lot, because it's being split, automatically loses its subdivision status.
Okay, so everybody understand and agree? Okay, carry. On to C45/22, Andrew and Tricia Stewart, please. Mover and seconder. Je vois pas faire ça.
Chris has his hand up. It is moved by Chris Fisher and seconded by Fern Pellerin. Be it resolved that a consent application made by Andrew and Tricia Stewart for a lot addition on Highway 64 in the West Nipissing Municipality is approved in the following conditions. That a reference plan be prepared and deposited, the taxes be paid, the conditions be met before July 12th, 2024, that a transfer deed be submitted, that the clerk shall instruct the municipal engineer to apportion the drainage maintenance for the Rousseau drain, and that a PIN consolidation be registered in the Land Registry Office in order to consolidate the lands. Through you, Mr. Chair, this property is, Mr. Stewart owns quite a number of properties. Mr. and Mrs. Stewart farm, they have some lambs over there on Highway 64. And they also own this property back in here. There's 4 or 5 small lots along the front of Highway 64. And currently there's a significant encroachment of materials and objects by this property back in this area. So they're requesting, Mr. Stewart has agreed to sell the owner of this lot here, this land in here, in order to correct the encroachments.
Okay, but one thing maybe you can answer me is by creating the yellow lot, does you guys see some of the original black lot?
He owns this too.
Yeah, but now is that creating a parcel by itself?
No, because it's all merged under the Planning Act anyways, because everything's in the same name. So they just, the lot line here just kind of jogs like this.
Oh, okay, you mean the little piece of black I see on the map is attached with the big piece on the west?
Yep.
Oh, okay, now it's clear. I thought he was creating a sneaky lot.
No, it's all merged under the Planning Act anyways. All like this piece here is already merged with these 3 farms over here.
Okay.
So this just stays merged with those 3 farms.
Okay, very good.
It's just that it has a separate assessment roll. So it'll probably get picked up into this lot here.
Okay, very good. Peux-tu voir le mot?
Oui.
Voir comment tu votes.
Sorry.
Okay, no problem. So any question or comment on this? Hearing none, I'll call to a vote. Everybody in favor as presented, carried. Now I need a mover and seconder for C46/22, Roxanne Lefebvre. Moved by Roger, second by Chris.
Just gonna get myself over there. Property. It is moved by Roger Gagnon and seconded by Chris Fisher. Be it resolved that the consent application made by Roxanne Lefebvre for the creation of a new lot at 231 Bay Street in the West Nipissing Municipality is approved on the following conditions: the reference plan be prepared, that the taxes be paid, that all in conditions be met on or before July 12, 2024. The transfer deed be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer, that any portion of the maintained and traveled road 10 meters from center line be transferred to the municipality as a condition, and the clerk shall, pursuant to section 65(1), instruct the municipal engineer to apportion the assessment for drainage on the Piet drain. Through you, Mr. Chair, this is a fairly straightforward application. It's the property is located on Bay Street, and both of these lots are well in excess of the amount required. This one is 3 hectares. This one is 2 hectares. They both have over 60 meters of frontage. There is an easement at the back. If I recall correctly, it is a gas line.
Yeah, natural gas line goes there, I believe.
And obviously the both portions will remain subject to those easements. I don't know, Mr. Goodrich, anything else to add?
I'd just like to point out the nice rectangular shapes to Norm.
Oh, yeah, I noticed that. I appreciate you trying to, drawing as many straight lines as possible.
We do listen to you occasionally.
Any comments or requests from any members? Hearing none, I'll call to a vote. Everybody in favor is presented, carried. In C47/22, Frederick Dubuc.
I'm over in a seconder.
Yes, please. Mr. Fisher and Mr. Fern.
It is moved by Chris Fisher and seconded by Fern Pellegrini. Be it resolved that the consent application made by Frederick Dubuc for the creation of a new lot at 21 Dubuc Road in the municipality of West Nipissing is approved on the following conditions: that a reference plan be prepared, that taxes be paid, that the conditions be met before July 12, 2024, that a transfer deed be submitted to the municipal secretary treasurer, and in the event that any portion of the municipally maintained road on either the severed or retained lands that's 10 meters from center line from the traveled road, let me try that again. In the event that any portion of the municipally maintained and traveled road located on either of the severed or retained lands at 10 meters from center line, including the retained land, shall be surveyed at the owner's cost and transferred to the West Nipissing municipality.
Good, that's a very easy forward application.
Yes, the new proposed lot is, well, and it's meets the requirements for frontage and lot area.
Any question or comments? Hearing none, I'll call to a vote. Everybody in favor as presented? Carried. Now, we have one amendment consent of
I vote for it.
C-7821.
On the wrong way.
Just a little change to a previous,
Yes, and I don't have a
that's
picture.
Pardon me?
I don't have a picture. I don't have a sketch.
Oh.
So, but there is one attached to your
Yeah, we have one with our package.
Okay,
I'll
so-
tell you what, I'll save everyone a lot of time. Sorry for the late notice, but my clients have instructed me to withdraw this amendment so that they're going to just proceed with the original severance that was approved.
But there was an issue on the previous severance. There was a condition that the lot not cover the existing municipal road portion.
Yeah, and I think they're willing to pull that back.
Okay, so let me get this up here so that I can see what we're talking about.
So the picture we have, yeah,
That was a 2020 file,
21.
21, that was-
2021 file?
yeah, that was back in February, I think.
Actually, I think before Christmas.
December 13, 2021.
Oh, December 15th.
Down there at the bottom. So the original sketch, I'm just gonna pull it up, Paul.
Yep.
Share the screen.
So I guess while she's pulling that
Okay,
up-
so what had originally been proposed was that this severed two was going right over this little portion here, and there was a request that this piece
You're
not
not
be,
shared.
not to extend over there.
Melanie, you're not shared your screen.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Fisher, I'm getting dopey in my old age. How's that? So at the last, there was a recommendation that the severed two be pulled back so that it didn't touch this little piece here, which is owned by the municipality.
And that's what he did here,
So that's what was on the amendment. And there
except,
was also, the lot was made bigger.
and it's the bigger part, I think, he's removing from the application, right?
That is correct, and we did pull it back from the far side as well.
So you're just removing this odd shaped part that says red line amendment?
It doesn't, yeah, that is correct.
Okay,
So the heavy line at the north on that sketch stays the same. The light line where it says 240 will become the heavy line.
okay.
So basically exactly as you were recommending at the previous approval.
Share this up
Because I
here.
think it was a condition that we pull it back.
Yes, it was a
Right, so-
condition.
Yeah, so we're
So
just,
you're pulling this, so basically we're going back to the way it was, but now it doesn't go over this thing and this is coming back out. So the way it was before,
Correct.
except not this.
that is correct.
Okay. So you don't need the amendment?
We don't need the amendment, thank you.
Okay, we'll just cancel that.
So we're canceling the red line amendment.
Okay.
And that's it, Nick.
Yeah, no, we have one item left.
We do.
We have one item. We have our very first cancellation certificate. It's not on your agenda? On the very back. On the second page.
Oh, yeah,
Top.
okay, I see it.
Yeah, so what we have here, this is and if you recall, early in the year, I went through the new changes to the Planning Act with you. So what happened here is, I'm gonna say 2 or 3 years ago, one of the lots on Canal Road, one of those same subdivision lots we were speaking about earlier in the meeting, was divided. As it happened, the owners bought both, the same owner bought both pieces, and now they would like to construct a garage, so they need them to go back together. And it used to be that once a consent, always a consent, and never you were kind of stuck unless you transferred a piece out of it or something. But now there is a new provision that they may request that a certificate of cancellation be issued. So what is being proposed here is to cancel the previous consent on this property so that it goes back to the full 200-foot lot.
I have no problem.
No problem with that?
Okay, so I'll ask, all the members understood that?
Wait, I still need to read the motion.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, you need to move for secondary. Okay, moved by Mr. Fisher, seconded by Mr. Roger. And all the statements you just said, and I think Mr. Fisher, you're voting for it?
No, I have a question.
Oh, you have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah. So just to make sure I'm perfectly clear, so what's going on here is that part 1 and part 2 are just merging back, and that is now one lot. That's what's happening.
You bet. That's exactly what's happening.
Okay, I get it. Thank you.
Okay, any other question? Nobody has any further questions, so I'll call it to a vote. Everybody in favor as presented, carried.
And last item is a discussion about future meetings. For those who were here for part 1, I think it's all the same people except for perhaps Monsieur Roger.
Yeah.
We were having a conversation about returning to in-person meetings if you wish. And the general consensus of the council and of the previous committee is that we go with a hybrid model where you can come in person or you can stay home. And for some people who go to Florida every winter, the hybrid model works. He's smiling.
Yeah, I'm smiling.
But
He's
I'll,
planning a future trip, I guess.
But I will go back to the office next month.
Okay. So yes, so the notices will state that you can participate virtually or you can participate in person. Paul, because he can't find the link, he's gonna have to participate in person. So if everybody's agreeable, we'll move to a hybrid model. So members of the public can come in, they can join, or they can come in by Zoom if they so choose.
And we don't need a motion with that. We went back with consensus at the previous meeting.
Yep.
I have the
That
question
is
now.
supported by municipal council.
I'm sorry?
Yes, Roger?
A quick question. Are we going back to the basement in the municipal building?
No, we're gonna be in the council chambers because that's where the cameras are located.
So,
Okay, no problem.
so you never had now you will have the occasion to come and sit at the council table
That's perfect.
at the committee level. We're giving you quite a status improvement there.
Okay, it's time to go home, people. A mover and a seconder to adjourn.
Okay, Mr. Fisher and Mr. Fern.
It is moved by Chris Fisher and seconded by Fern Pellerin. Be it resolved, the Committee of Adjustment meeting held on July the 11th, 2022, be adjourned to August the 8th. It was August.
Great.
Everybody in favor, carried. Have a good summer.
Good night,